Get out of the sky. The words cut through the hot summer air at pilot camp like a knife. Laughter followed, sharp and cruel, echoing from the mouths of boys who thought the skies belonged only to them. She stood there in her oversized training suit, helmet tucked under her arm, fighting the sting in her eyes. It wasn't the first time she had been told she didn't belong, and it probably wouldn't be the last. But that day, standing on the cracked runway, she clenched her jaw and silently promised herself one thing: if the sky was theirs, she would learn to own it too. Her name was Alina. The only girl in her squad, she had enrolled in the pilot training camp with nothing but a dream and her late father's badge. He had been a decorated Air Force pilot who never returned from a mission. She had grown up listening to his stories, looking at his photographs, and whispering promises into the night that she would carry on his legacy. But here at camp, surrounded by boys who laughed at her, mocked her every move, and called her weak, it felt like her dream was already falling apart. Every morning, she woke up before dawn, tying her boots tighter than anyone else, running laps until her legs burned. She studied the manuals long after the lights went out, memorizing every switch, every code, every emergency protocol. While the boys laughed in their bunks, she whispered the procedures under her breath until they became second nature. She didn't need to prove anything to them. She needed to prove it to herself, and maybe, somewhere out there, to her father's memory. But the ridicule didn't stop. During practice flights, they joked about her landing skills. During drills, they deliberately made her squad leader's life harder by excluding her. Once, one of them even whispered into her ear as she strapped into the simulator, "Do everyone a favor, get out of the sky before you kill us all." The words burned deep. She bit down her pain, but inside, it felt like her father's badge grew heavier around her neck. The breaking point came one hot afternoon. The squad was assigned a training flight in jets, a simulation exercise designed to test their decision-making under pressure. Alina's heart raced as she climbed into the cockpit, hands trembling against the controls she had studied 1,000 times. The boys muttered on the radio, mocking her, doubting her. But once the engines roared to life and the jets thundered into the sky, the earth fell away, and all that remained was silence and freedom. For a brief moment, she belonged. Then, disaster struck. Midway through the exercise, one of the jets malfunctioned. A fuel leak triggered a chain reaction, and within seconds, alarms screamed across the cockpit radios. Panic spread through the squad. Their formation broke. Voices cracked with fear. No one could remember the exact procedure, they had only skimmed the manual, laughing at the thought of emergencies ever happening during, just training. But Alina remembered. Every page, every word she had drilled into herself in the lonely hours of the night. She took a deep breath, steadying her voice on the radio. "Listen to me. Follow my instructions." At first, they ignored her. "Don't boss us around," one snapped. But when the alarms grew louder, when smoke began to trail from a jet wing, desperation cracked their arrogance. Alina's hands flew across the controls. She called out each step, walking them through the escape sequence, activating the emergency fuel cutoff, guiding them to trigger the jet escape system one by one. Her voice, calm and firm, cut through their fear. In those terrifying minutes, the girl they told to get out of the sky was the only one keeping them alive. One by one, the jets disengaged safely. The squad ejected, parachutes blooming against the endless sky. Even the boy who had laughed at her the loudest, his parachute snapping open, looked down at her jet still flying steady and realized that she had saved him. Alina stayed until the last signal was confirmed. Only then did she pull her own lever, ejecting into the wide blue sky, the wind roaring in her ears as the ground rushed up to meet her. When her chute opened, she looked up at the vast horizon, her father's badge pressed against her chest, and whispered, "I did it, Dad." The squad landed scattered across the field, shaken but alive. None of them spoke at first. The silence was heavier than all the insults they had ever thrown. Finally, one of them walked up to her, the same boy who once told her to leave. His voice was hoarse, his pride broken. You saved us. If it weren't for you, we'd be dead." The others nodded, unable to meet her eyes, but their shame spoke louder than any words. From that day on, the mocking stopped. She was no longer the girl who didn't belong. She was the pilot who had saved the squad, the one who had turned their fear into survival. And in the quiet respect that followed, Alina realized something even more powerful. She had not just earned their respect, she had proven to herself that she was worthy of the sky. And so, if you're watching this, remember this: don't ever let anyone tell you where you don't belong. The sky is wide, the horizon endless, and courage belongs to those who refuse to quit, no matter how loud the laughter around them is. If Alina's story inspired you tonight, give this video a like, share it with someone who needs strength, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories. Because sometimes, the ones who are told to step aside are the very ones who will rise above and save us all.